Looks like we've got another Warhammer 3 thing, this time the trailer for Tzeentch. For those of you guys who don't know, Tzeentch is going to be my preferred Chaos God. I'm a big fan of just the weird, kind of psychedelic, over-the-top strangeness of Tzeentch, tentacles and so on, so let's go ahead and jump into the trailer here. Be on the watch for Blue Chosen. I know that situation's still sort of floating around, so let's see what they've prepared for us here on this trailer.
Was inevitable.
Okay, alright. Okay, so we've got some cultists confirmed. I know those guys were kind of spotted earlier, but there's the Chosen on discs. Okay, so we've got the disc chariots as well. What? That looks so tight. Oh, the Screamers pulling the flying chariots, and they are legitimately flying. We've got the Herald there. Big Bird. Oh man, the Screamers, they have little faces! Look at the little Screamer faces. Oh man. Oh, wow. Okay, so some different flying things. I'm not up on the Chaos lore, so I'm not 100% sure what that was. There's some other kind of flying. The Flamers, of course. All the fire. Oh, yeah. Okay, so... wow, just wow. So they really didn't show much of the Mortal Followers, which kind of makes sense given all the hubbub and everything. I actually don't know. This trailer probably was already made or in the process of being made, if I had to guess, before all of that. But let's go through again here. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. Obviously, things look fantastic in general. The color palette's very much what you would expect for Tzeentch, like the... you know, kind of the arcane, like blue and purple and all that. Looks very galactic almost, you could say. Kairos himself looks incredible, obviously. We've got these guys, who I guess are probably heroes. Considering Khorne had the one, like, I think it was like a Marauder melee hero or something. This guy probably, if I had to guess, is a hero level character. Maybe, maybe not. If we take a look here, these are more or less just like aspiring champions, I think. On the discs. Here in this shot, we do get a pretty good look. And I mean, the discs themselves are obviously new, unique models, but you can tell this is just like a regular aspiring champion or chosen or whatever, so a little bit disappointing still, but hopefully they get that updated. We got the horrors, which we've seen plenty of already, and the, I forget what these chariots are called, the flying discs pulled by Screamers, but that is definitely my top unit for Tzeentch currently. Now you've got the Forsaken again, the Blue Forsaken, the Herald here, got his cool looking eye book, lots of cool stuff. The Screamer faces, okay, this is gonna be a meme for sure. My face when. Let me know in the comments down below, my face when for this guy right here. And it's good to see that Big Bird's still around. You know, they haven't totally... and I didn't expect them to just discard Sarthorael's model. My guess is this is probably the generic Lord of Change for Tzeentch. Maybe Lord, maybe even just unit level, but my guess is probably like a Lord level. Kairos obviously is the big special. And then this thing, is this just the Fury? That it looks slightly different than the Khorne Fury? I'm not really sure. Need to go back and actually look. But all very, very cool stuff. Flamer's obviously amazing. It does seem that out of all the Chaos Demon factions, Tzeentch will be the most ranged focused, so they also have released a blog with some mechanics and some other stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Now this isn't really a campaign channel, I mostly focus on multiplayer. I didn't really cover the Cathay campaign mechanics, although I may at a later date, and I might cover the Kislev or Khorne mechanics when those come out. If I do find them interesting, which Creative Assembly did say they're working on those, but this one I did find quite interesting. Tzeentch's mechanics here, they're going to talk a little bit about. So the way it kind of works with the Chaos Monogod factions is they're almost like a layered cake, right? You have your base layer, all of the Monogod Chaos factions share some certain attributes. You've got your mid layer, which is kind of the main, you know, primary Tzeentch mechanics, for example, and then you've got your legendary lord-specific mechanics layered on top of that. Now, to start, there's only going to be one legendary lord for each of the monogod factions, but they do say specifically here, we plan to support Total War Warhammer 2 for a long time, mentioning specifically DLC and free DLC as well. I mean, let's be honest, we will buy DLCs for the next 5 years, so that's great. Good to see. I think some people were worried that they weren't going to do DLCs for the monogod factions for whatever reasons, but that is clearly not the case, so that's great. So anyway, back to the blog. They're not going to talk about Kairos specific mechanics. Instead, what we're looking at is some of the base chaos mechanics as they relate to Tzeentch, and also the Tzeentch specific mechanics here, which do seem very strong, bringing us straight into it. Grimoires is going to be the resource that you need to perform some of these very powerful actions. Grimoires are books full of forbidden knowledge, all that jazz. You can use them in various ways. First is by these Changing of the Ways abilities. These are pretty powerful campaign map abilities, starting with straight up transfer settlement. So you can transfer control and ownership of one settlement to a new faction, and it can be your faction or any other. I'm not sure exactly what the restrictions are on this, if you're able to transfer faction capitals, or what kind of, if it costs different amounts depending on the faction tier. We really don't know. We have this image here that appears to suggest it has a flat cost, and it was unlocked relatively early on in the tech tree, but keep in mind, again, this stuff is not final, so it is subject to change. Seems ridiculously powerful, just straight up trolling, like, oh, yoink, like, you don't even have to use an army, you can just take the settlement magically. As you'll see with some of these other effects, you can definitely troll some factions hard, just kind of ruin their whole plan, ruin their day, maybe transfer settlements between enemies. You can also, as you can see here, force war, give war coordination target to factions, even if they're not your ally. You can break alliances. This is probably one of my favorites as well. Halt faction, all characters, so all armies and all heroes have their movement speed halted and disabled, so you basically play the skip turn card on them, and they just don't get to do anything with any of their armies, so that's amazing. You get some reveal shroud, reveal faction intentions, which shows, this is interesting, the faction intentions, we'll see how well this actually works in practice. I'm not sure exactly what form that information will take, whether you'll just see like the pathing and orders of all of that faction's armies, or if it'll give you some kind of breakdown of their overall goals. I don't know. We'll still have to it remains to be seen how that works. Track army, you can get line of sight on a single army. I'd imagine that one's probably going to be pretty cheap. Just on the surface, these do seem like very strong actions. It remains to be seen kind of the grimoire economy, how easy they are to generate, how expensive it is to perform some of these various different things, and I'm sure all of that is kind of being balanced actively right now, so shouldn't, again, take any of these numbers as final, but definitely seems like a lot of fun. Just the ability to straight up troll people. Yeah, as you can imagine, things get hectic, manipulative, and downright scummy, depending on your desires. I can only imagine playing a multiplayer campaign against Tzeentch is going to be an actual, literal nightmare. Also, Winds of Magic manipulation. Apparently, with Tzeentch, within your own territories, you can just move your Winds of Magic around as you will, rather than having the system be randomly generated, where, every few turns, the Winds of Magic shift, and it will change region to region, so that's nice. You also get buffs for buildings if you have higher Winds of Magic in a given region, so really leaning into that more than any other faction we've seen. Makes sense given Tzeentch's lore and everything. So the corruption, this is something that all the Chaos gods share, as you guys probably saw from the screenshot from the Cathay mechanics blog. Each god has their own type of corruption, and they don't really go into too much specifics about what the corruption itself does, but basically they do talk about these abilities, which you have 4 free abilities available to every demon faction, which are unlocked as your faction's corruption spreads. So, for example, for Tzeentch, you have this Scriveners of Insanity unlocked from the start. You can generate grimoires with this ability. Your army can't move during that time, but once you reach 1500 global Tzeentch corruption, I'm assuming that's in all territories across the map, Then you get another ability to get the target army to suffer attrition for a turn, regardless of situation or immunities, which is just really nice. You can also get Magic Flare at 3,000 Global Corruption, and Knighted Madness at 6,000 Global Corruption, so it does appear that spreading your own corruption will unlock these abilities. And then, as well, cults are now a mechanic for all the Chaos Mono-God factions. So, whatever unique god, like once you achieve a certain threshold of corruption within a given region, you spawn a cult there, and it's similar to the Skaven Undercities. You have some construction slots with some buildings you can build, generate extra grimoires, get some income, winds of magic increase, all that kind of different stuff. Also, Tzeentch has a unique stance called Teleportation. It's sort of like the Underway, but you can actually initiate battles and it will just instantly ambush. Seems ridiculously strong. Ambushing is really, really strong in Total War Warhammer campaign, in Total War in general. So the ability to also bypass mountain ranges, rivers, all that jazz, just like you do with the Underway stance, is very useful on the campaign map. So seems quite strong. And then the tech tree, obviously, we have a picture of this here. I mean, it's a tech tree. You do have to spend grimoires to unlock some of these techs, which is interesting to note. You are going to have to manage your grimoire economy. And that's basically it for the campaign mechanics. All really interesting stuff, I have to say. I'm personally really looking forward to playing a Tzeentch campaign. You have some hilariously powerful tools potentially here, and even if they aren't ridiculously powerful, it is still going to be fun, I think. Secretly, I'm a little bit of a troll at heart. I do think I'm going to enjoy just absolutely toying with the AI, or, with friends in multiplayer campaigns, and just having a grand old time causing absolute havoc and actual anarchy across the campaign map. So it seems like quite a bit of fun. That's it for the Tzeentch stuff for today. I'll be back with more news soon. I'm sure Creative Assembly seems to be opening up the fire hose when it comes to news drops as of late, so when I have something substantial and interesting that I feel like I want to talk about, I'll be back with that. In the meantime, plenty of Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer, so be sure to subscribe for that, like, share if you found the video helpful, useful, informative, entertaining, whatever. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.